Welcome back into the Dead Arm Sports Podcast. Josh Gell, and if you're on YouTube, new face. We got Critter with us today. He's going to be joining our Dead Arm Sports community. He's a fantasy guru, NBA aficionado. So he's going to be our NBA expert. Gel and Critter, maybe I'll jump in once in a while, but they're going to start doing a little more NBA, little fantasy action too here and there. But Critter, how you doing? Why don't you let the listeners know? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, thanks, Josh. Yeah, no, I'm doing good. I'm happy to be here. I've been watching you guys' content for a while. You're really just cranking it out. So I figured I'd jump aboard while I can.
Guy knows the league way better than, I tune in mostly for like the playoffs, particularly for Bucks playoffs. But Crit is like JPEG said, aficionado and pretty dialed into the league for everything. So we're pretty pumped. It'll be primarily, like Josh said, me and him doing probably about a weekly show, just dedicated to the NBA and keeping all y'all listeners and viewers informed on that. Give our takes on any news that comes up within the league. Do some deep dives where we need to probably get some freaking KD reaction and his psychotic brain and however the hell that thing works. And, we'll just take it from there. But no, it's going to be good to have him on and, we'll get some of the league going on. So, and then also, guys kicked my ass in fantasy before, so I figured he's a good guy to bring on for a mock draft.
That is true. True. Let the record show that.
Awesome. No, good time for you to jump in, have a mock draft today. So going to put you right to the test, and it's your trial run, and we'll see if you stick around for another week. But appreciate that. We're happy to have you on here.
Cutthroat business, baby.
Yes, absolutely. All right, we can be found at Dead Arm Sports, Twitter, Instagram. Gel's at DosGel. I'm at DosJPack, working on getting Critter a tag there as well, so you can hit him up with any questions. Subscribe, rate, review the podcast. Send us a screenshot of that review. Get you some sticker swag sent out. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page. Click the bell. That way you know when our episodes drop live, typically during the week. I'm assuming your NBA will be live as well once you get that up and roaring as well. So another more live podcast for you. So that way you can answer any or ask us any questions that you want. Got that chat monitored at all times. But especially, too, if you're listening right now, again, we have a mock draft episode going on. So make sure you are on our YouTube page. So that way you can follow along with our draft.
It's going to be a lot easier to, again, I briefly mentioned this on Wednesday's release, but we got some very positive feedback from the YouTube viewers that having that up on YouTube made it a lot easier to follow, the picks, who was available. So that'll be the easiest way to soak in this content is on YouTube.
Absolutely. All right, Critter, first test. Are you sipping on anything fun today?
Ooh, that's my first mistake. I'm already messing up. It's just still in the fridge.
Oh no,
in the fridge.
Oh no.
You pop it over to Gel. Let me
grab it. All right. Sounds good. What do you got today, Gel?
All right. So I finished up. I wrapped up solidly with that at the end of our previous recording, finished up that Arnold Palmer, the Twisted Tea half and half.
Yeah, buddy.
So rocking back over to the peach flavored Twisted Tea. So let's get it on. Let's get twisted.
Zigzagging all over the place. Like it.
Is that a Twisted Tea?
Oh, big time.
Did I just missed that? Okay.
Peach flavored.
It's no Twisted Tea, but I'm rocking a little time of the year Oktoberfest, a little good city here in Milwaukee.
That boy. I'm going to have to take my Yeti koozie off here and show you my Oktoberfest from Lakefront Brewery. So Oktoberfest buds here.
Well,
all
cheers.
Right. Cheers.
Yeah, I am. I'm now officially jealous. No pun intended there. But
you are jealous. Yeah.
I feel like I'm the low class bunch or low class one of the within this bunch, which that was already established. But damn it, I wish I had the Rocktoberfest.
You'll make it here one day. You'll get there.
We'll see. Fringe class.
Yes, it's got to cool off a little bit down by you, Gel. I think before they start busting out the Oktoberfest.
Yeah, it's not going to be till at least next month till those really start hitting the shelves. Probably Sam Adams is usually the first Oktoberfest that hits the shelves, so which I think it's pretty good. I think it's a good Oktoberfest. So
yeah, it's not bad.
Not the best, but it's 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 good.
It's fine.
She'll do.
That'll do, donkey.
All right, let's get right into it. We're going to have a 14-round mock draft for you. Probably going to cut it around the 7-pick mark so that we can get you more content tomorrow and give us a little bit more time to break down our picks. We're going to be all drafting from the same team, so 3 minds hopefully will think alike and pick a fantastic fantasy team, but we'll see what where everybody's thinking here and what arguments we might bring up when we're fighting over what pick we want to make. We're going to do a quarterback, 2 wide receiver, 2 running back, tight end, 2 flex spot, 6 bench, half point PPR. So we are going to be drafting from the 9 spot today. I think we were at the 6 spot the last time around. So I wanted to give you a little bit different perspective of the draft. Yeah, right. So we're going to draft from the back end after some of those stud players are off the board, a little bit more guys to debate over. So we should get some nice debate right off of the bat here. I am going to go ahead and share my screen if you 2 gentlemen are ready to get rolling.
Set it up.
Let's get it.
All right. We will go ahead. I am going to bring up Sleeper here. You guys let me know when you can see my screen.
Muy bueno.
All right, sounds good. I'm going to move the picture down here so I can see what the hell I am doing. And again, we are in the 9 spot, so we will go ahead and get started here.
We rolling?
We are. So we have Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, Austin Eckler, Cooper Kupp, Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook, Devontae Adams, and Justin Jefferson right in front of us. So, yes, that would have been pretty automatic.
Justin Jefferson there. I was hoping.
Yep. So some of the guys that are at the top of the ADP right now got some running backs in Najee Harris, Joe Mixon, DeAndre Swift, Nick Chubb, wide receivers, Jamar Chase coming off his fantastic rookie year. Got a tight end in Travis Kelce, Stephon Diggs out there, CeeDee Lamb towards the bottom there. Don't think we're thinking him right now, but yeah, what are you guys thinking? I think all 3 of us, that probably would have been unanimous if JJ was sitting there right now, but unfortunately he is not. So we have to pivot and go a different route here.
Crit, why don't you kick it off, man?
I mean, yeah, Justin Jefferson would have been automatic. Like, I can't really believe he fell that far, even if it's just computers drafting. But for me, like, if it's not Kupp or Jefferson, like, I know Chase is going to have a great year. It's like nothing against him, but I would be hard to pass on Najee Harris here. I think he's going to have an amazing year. So I would definitely get the cornerstone running back right away. And yeah, that'd be my pick. I don't know what you guys are thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I think in our last draft, we ended up taking Najee Harris at 6 in the first round. So that makes me think like we kind of are tied into taking him here at 9. That's like
that's an amazing value. Yeah, I don't know. Like in mocks I've done, I've picked him a little higher than this too. Like I think he's going to be phenomenal.
And again, this is also this half point PPR, and he recorded a pretty good amount of receiving work last year. I mean, you can look at those projections. You're looking at over 1,500 yards between rushing and receiving. That's baller. Touchdowns. That's great value here at 9. I think also on the way that this is going to snake back, that leaves us with a potential option to be able to grab Stephon Diggs maybe at that in the second round if that works out in our favor. So if we could pair Najee Harris and Diggs, I mean, that's you're setting yourself up for a sweet season right off the bat.
You're sitting pretty. Yeah, if that's the case.
Yep. I think I'm in agreement with you guys here. Just doing a bunch of mocks this offseason. I really like some of the wide receivers in the third, fourth, fifth round, even the second round there too, where it's nice to get that cornerstone running back out of the way, like you had said, Critter. So
Yeah.
I'm in agreement here with Najee, and then see if Diggs or maybe if DeAndre Swift happens to fall, we maybe talk running back as well. So we'll kind of go from there with it. So I think we are in all unanimous here, and go ahead and resume the draft. And Najee Harris will be on our team.
Happy to have that guy. Oh, there goes Diggs, of course.
Ooh, Alvin Kamara too. So, Jamar Chase, Team 10, Travis Kelce, Joe Mixon to round out round 1. Stephon Diggs, Gels guy that he was hoping was going to fall, goes to Team 12, sneaking back around. Saquon Barkley and Alvin Kamara. So get some news on Alvin Kamara that sounds like he might not be suspended at all this year. So if that's the case, they got an absolute steal there in the second round. But
that changes things for sure.
Yes. So
I mean, Kamara is going to go first round if, depending on when your draft is. If it comes out that he's not going to be suspended, he's an easy first round pick. Definitely. I mean, he's being placed ahead of Joe Mixon in my running back power rankings for sure.
Yeah. I'd
potentially ahead of Najee Harris as well. Well, that's debatable, but a little bit of a risk still, just not knowing his status from Team 10. But now we're sitting here. We've got our RB1. Your boy, Josh, DeAndre Swift is sitting there.
I was going to say, I mean, piggybacking off what you said, I think pairing Swift and Harris together, especially in any sort of PPR format, would just be insane. I think Swift is going to, same with Najee. I think he's going to get a ton of volume, ton of passes. I mean, I know they upgraded at wide receiver. They got a good tight end, but I mean, they still have Jared Goff. Let's be real. I think Goff is going to be checking down a little bit more than other pocket quarterbacks. And I mean, for me, it would be a no-brainer. I'd pick Swift right here.
What about you, Jill? What are you thinking here? Just some of the other names on the board. If you're not following YouTube, first off, shame on you. Get on YouTube right now so you can follow along. But got DeAndre Swift, Nick Chubb, Aaron Jones there for the running backs. CeeDee Lamb's the next wide receiver up on the board. Tyreek Hill in Miami. Josh Allen, Mark Andrews creeping up into the rankings right now as well. Definitely not thinking tight end or quarterback here, but yeah, DeAndre Swift was somebody that I was kind of eyeing, hoping maybe we could go that running back combo, get those two stud guys right out of the way. Like you'd mentioned, Critter, DeAndre Swift is going to be on the field a ton, and he's not going to come off of the field. The Lions last year, I expect them to be a better team this year, competing, not for the division or anything, but should be a lot better, not in the bottom of the division. But still should have some garbage time too, where Swift's out there in the 2-minute drill. So you're going to get a ton of play from him. So that's kind of where I lean right now. Nick Chubb, you don't get the passing work from him, even though you do get a bunch of rushing yards, usually double-digit touchdowns. But I think the upside with Swift here is where I would lean.
Yeah.
Another unanimous pick, I think here. It's I mean, looking at this next receiver, that's according to the rankings, CeeDee Lamb. I think that this ranking is a little bit too high at 16 overall. Just knowing that he's going to have, I mean, yes, wide receiver 1 now with Amari Cooper gone, but I'm not a believer in the Cowboys, and Nick Chubb, that quarterback situation it's going to likely be smoked Brissett. So that's going to hurt. I think that's just going to hurt the way that defenses, they're now going to just focus on Chubb a lot more. So it's DeAndre Swift for me here.
All right. Unanimous again. This is pretty boring so far, but I'm pretty happy with the way the draft's rolling out. So get Swift locked in, and we'll let
running backs locked up.
Yeah, can't complain about that piece, having the backs locked up.
Like you said, Josh, like I'm in love with a lot of the wide receivers kind of in the middle rounds that I've been attacking, and we all know that running backs, it's a pretty steep cliff that you can fall off of real quick if you don't start taking them early. So
I mean, look right now at the remaining running backs now. Exactly. If we would have not taken Swift here, our RB2, you're looking at Cam Akers, David Montgomery, Breece Hall, Travis Etienne.
Yeah.
I'm good with taking Swift
Question
and just locking up that room and not having, and now we can just focus on our pass catchers until we get to maybe that flex spot. But yeah, I mean, like I mentioned, those 4 running backs are sitting on the board. T. Higgins is your top receiver that's listed here. And then now we're getting into the quarterback territory. Justin Herbert is there. And then George Kittle it kind of rounds out the available top tight ends.
Yep. Yeah, after we picked Aaron Jones, Josh Allen, Lamb, Hill, Samuel, Javonte Williams, Nick Chubb falling all the way down to 211, which is kind of surprising there. But Mark Andrews rounding out round 2, Fournette, Evans, AJ Brown, Zeke, Patty Mahomes, Kyle Pitts, Keenan Allen, and James Conner right in front of us. So yeah, like you said, Joe, few running backs there that, you definitely didn't want them as your RB2, I don't think. But yeah, like you said, Justin Herbert is sitting out there right now. As far as wide receivers go, T. Higgins is the next up. Michael Pittman got a lot of upside there in Indy. Deontay Johnson, Terry McLaurin, DJ Moore, Jalen Waddle are pretty much what we're staring down there. And George Kittle, Darren Waller on the tight end front. So second test of the day, Critter. Kind of got a turning point in the draft here. Got our running backs locked up. Where would you like to go with this? What are you thinking right now?
It's tough because, I mean, along with running back, I think one of the hardest positions to hit on is tight end. And if you don't pick tight end early, it's a pretty steep drop off and there's a lot of question marks. So it would be nice to lock up a tight end right now. I don't know if Kittle's my guy that I'm necessarily leaning towards, though. You got Trey Lance there. We don't know kind of what he's like as a passer. We know he's going to be a good runner. For me, I mean, I know I don't want to be boring, but I mean, T. Higgins is sitting there. T. Higgins was a monster last year. I think he can only get better. Clearly he is the number 2 in that offense, but I think Burrow is good enough and their scheme is good enough to support 2 top 12, top 15 guys. So I would go T. Higgins.
I like T. Higgins as well. Can you go to tight ends really quick?
Yep, absolutely.
I mean, I'm definitely a Waller fan. I'm also thinking I really like TJ Hawkinson this year. I wouldn't mind waiting a little bit on the tight end and seeing if we can get a Hawkinson maybe around 2 rounds later. So I'm cool skipping the tight ends at this point. My
guy has been, I'm thinking I see Dalton Schultz sitting there. I think he's going to have a big year. You got Michael Gallup's out for, we don't know how long. Their third receiver, I believe it's James Washington, just went down out 6 to 10 weeks. So
yeah, so they're you're gonna have a rookie there.
I think Schultz is gonna be real productive, at least in the first half of the season. So that's somebody we could wait on too.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I'm fine with T. I really like Michael Pittman too. I don't know. We've only got 6 picks again before we go. I don't think he's still going to be there, but T. Higgins, again, high-powered offense. The Colts, we're not sure exactly. We expect it to be pretty good with Matt Ryan coming over, but again, we don't know. That offense runs through Jonathan Taylor, and you hope that Michael Pittman's going to keep his projection going with his rookie year last year. Just the trajectory on that is up and up. So I'm good with T. Higgins. You know what you're going to be getting with that offense. Joe Burrow can support 2 wide receivers there. So I think it's definitely safe to have him as our wide receiver 1.
Hold up. Any thoughts on Cam Akers? I'm pretty high on him this year, just because I do think with that Stafford injury, they may be limiting his throws, and that's going to mean more work for Akers. We've obviously got 2 running backs now, but we also have the option to have a sweet ass flex and a sweet ass RB2 when bye weeks, when the bye weeks roll around. So
we got 2
is there is that, I mean, Cam Akers, I'd be cool with Cam Akers as well here. I'm sure I'm higher on him than others. I said in one of our previous episodes, I'll take Cam Akers over Fournette, and we saw Fournette go 3 running backs ago. So I'm pretty high on Akers versus current ADP and versus current projections, I'm certainly higher on him. He looked really good in that Tampa playoff game, if you don't include the fumbles. So I'm an Akers fan. But I don't want our wide receivers to then be extremely thin if we don't get one in.
Yeah, I'm assuming that if we were to go Cam Akers here, you can cross off T. Higgins, you can cross off Michael Pittman, maybe cross off Deontay Johnson as well. So then we're looking at our wide receiver one as Terry McLaurin, DJ Moore, Jalen Waddle, which a lot of upside there, but they haven't shown it yet in their systems. Obviously, every year
you're talking about
no question. There's no doubting talent there.
Those first three receivers too, Deontay Johnson, Terry McLaurin, DJ Moore, all going to have new quarterbacks as well.
Correct. Yes.
Yep.
So you're taking a huge gamble on that, where I'd definitely be more excited if they were wide receiver 2. They got a lot of upside there in hopes that maybe with a new quarterback, it helps them out. But yeah, I think I would lean wide receiver here.
Yeah. Same with me. Like you said, Joe, it's really enticing to have just like a 3-headed monster at running back, but also I'm not as high on Akers as I think a lot of people are. I think I don't know, that Achilles injury is a real tough one for me. I mean, I know he's young enough and athletic enough to come back from it, but I mean, if he re-injures that, that's, I don't know, it's a detriment to the team. And I think I'd feel much more safer picking T. Higgins here, getting a solid wide receiver run. And
I'm not against T. Higgins. I'm just, presenting a counterpoint and saying, I'm high on Akers, so I'd be fine either way, but probably strategically we should lock in a run. We should lock in a receiver at this point. Let's be honest.
Yeah. And then Cam Akers and blanking. Daryl Williams.
Daryl Henderson.
Daryl Henderson.
What a whiff.
They're both, Oktoberfest getting to me already, but they both already have soft tissue injuries too and are questionable. So that kind of scares me when a running back that's coming off of an Achilles injury last year has soft tissue injury already going into the season.
And,
so
for what
plus then we can.
Oh, excuse me. For what
I was going to say, plus then we can say we're teeing off every week,
oh my God,
which will be fun.
That's great. And if you want to trust, coach talk in the offseason and training camp, which, it's hit or miss, but McVay did come out and say that he has 2 RB1s. Like he feels like he has 2 number 1 options and that he kind of hinted at a split. Now, I don't know if the numbers have shown that in his, coaching throughout the years, but it's something to monitor, it's something to think about.
All right. So we will tee it off, lock in T here. And we'll see what happens after that. So Cam Akers going, Justin Herbert, Breece Hall, George Kittle, Michael Pittman, and Darren
right
Waller.
Here.
So got 2 tight ends off of the board, along with 2 running backs in Akers, Hall, and another quarterback sneaking in there as well. So right now we're looking at David Montgomery, Travis Etienne, and Antonio Gibson, which Jill and I talked about him on our last episode.
Extremely high on him. Not.
Otherwise, wide receivers are still there that we talked about. New quarterbacks, a little bit high upside there in Deontay Johnson, Terry McLaurin, DJ Moore, Jalen Waddle, DK Metcalf. I'm going to pan over to the QBs. Lamar's next up. His average draft positions 49.3, so coming up a little bit, still a little early there. And tight ends, Dalton Schultz, TJ Hawkinson, but we're right now in the upper 30s. They're listed in the 60s for rankings, so we might be okay to wait on one of those and discuss that in our next round. But throw it over to you, Joe. What are you leaning here? We've got 2 running backs and a wide receiver, so we can pretty much go any direction here. Pretty solid 3 guys to kick off our draft.
I'm down with Etienne, aka high on Etienne this year. I mean, Urban Meyer's out. He's gone. The bad man is gone. So I'm really into ETN this year. He scored a shit ton of touchdowns at Clemson. He's healthy now, paired up with Trevor Lawrence. Doug Peterson was a legit coach in Philly. I think that this is a recipe for success on Travis Etienne. I think his projections are low, but even looking at his projections, you're talking about over 1,300 total yards. That's pretty solid. He has no wear and tear outside of, the injury, but no, in terms of carries, he didn't get any last year. Great receiving back, especially considering we're in a half PPR type of league. I think Etienne and Trevor Lawrence, that chemistry going back to Clemson. I love Etienne this year.
What are you thinking, Critter?
Yeah, I mean, as much as I want to disagree with Gel, I kind of have to agree here. I think this is great value. I think Etienne is a little bit underrated, but it makes sense. Like you alluded to, he hasn't played yet. We're just going off of his college tape, his rapport with Trevor Lawrence, but I think that's something you can't really overlook. So I think he's going to be heavily used, even when Robinson comes back. I mean, Robinson's a good running back. Don't get me wrong. I think he'll definitely vulture some touchdowns, but in PPR, I think he's just going to get a ton of little checkdowns. They're going to be throwing a lot. Jacksonville's defense is really, I wouldn't be betting a lot of money on them this year. Let's say that. And I think Etienne's a home run here. Then we'll have three-headed monster at running back, and then we can attack those wide receiver values in the later rounds.
Yeah, so far we are pretty boring. I'm on page with Travis Etienne. Again, the wide receivers scare me a little bit right now. Even later on, I think we're going to have some good wide receiver options to plug into the 2 and 3 spots for your flex spot. But Deontay, Terry, DJ, Jalen Waddle's got Tyreek Hill there now, so you're going to be taking away targets from him. And DK, Gel's boy Drew Lock throwing him the ball.
The obvious upside pick here with Drew Lock. Let's go, baby. Let's go. MVP.
We wait until our last round to draft Drew Lock then as our QB1, Gel?
That's our Mr. Irrelevance.
I don't know. I'd be looking at Mitch Trubisky in that round, but let's see.
Travis Etienne had 78 total touchdowns at Clemson. That's almost 20 a year.
That's pretty good.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I think it's a home run pick. I think we got to do it.
Yep. All right, we will go ahead and lock in Travis Etienne. Afterwards, Lamar Jackson, Terry McLaurin, David Montgomery, Deontay Johnson, Antonio Gibson, 4th round, Elijah Mitchell, DJ Moore, DK Metcalf, round out round 4. Got Jalen Waddle, Dobbins, Mike Williams, Kyler Murray, Josh Jacobs, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton going back to back there. Chris Godwin, and we are back on the clock. So got a healthy dose of running backs, Harris, Swift, Etienne, and T. Higgins. So just to kind of give some of the top names off of the board here, got Joe Burrow, Mari Cooper, Allen Robinson, Marquise Hollywood Brown, Dalton Schultz, Critter Likes, Brandon Cooks, AJ Dillon, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So kind of interesting names.
Interesting. I mean, there's a few different directions we could go in. I mean, if you're high on Burrow to repeat what he did last year, I think that, that'd be a solid pick. I'm not so high on him for fantasy. Just in my opinion, Jalen Hurts, I saw there as a guy that I think we could target a little bit later that has, as much upside as anybody at the quarterback position this year. He's got AJ Brown. Dallas Goedert, Devonta Smith. He's got the best receiving core he's ever had. And I think where I was looking in that who was left. I think my boy up in Geltown is just sitting there. I'm just saying.
I'm looking. Okay, so this is tough because what I would do here is Allen Robinson. I love him as a wide receiver too in LA. And then on the swoop around, go TJ Hawkinson. That's my ultimate. That'd be my strategy here. I really like Allen Robinson. Just we saw what Odell did when LA had a legit wide receiver too. I get it. Allen Robinson hasn't looked great in a couple of years, but he was in Chicago.
Chicago hasn't looked great.
He's got a lot to do. Like Chicago has everything to do with that. I think Allen Robinson would be a really sweet receiver. He's been a touchdown red zone threat. Yeah, you have Kupp there to steal probably some red zone work and some, just in terms of total receptions. Most of, Kupp's going to have another freaking 150 reception season. But I think Robinson as a red zone threat is legit. And we saw even what he did in Jacksonville. I mean, he was a legit receiver in Jacksonville with Blake Bortles. Now he's got Matt Stafford. So I like Allen Robinson here.
Was a Stafford elbow potential injury scary though? Especially for a wide receiver too right now? Because if Stafford goes down, that's going to be not
looking good.
Not good.
I certainly if I'm looking at all the receivers that are here on the board, Allen Robinson is easily my top guy. I mean, Amari Cooper,
just wide receivers,
Jacoby.
Yeah, that's what's
Hollywood
tough with
Brown.
Amari, because if we knew what that Deshaun Watson for sure what that was going to be, if it was
it's going to be
the
at
6
least
games that he got,
it's going to be at least 8. He already said that he would agree to 8, so it's at least 8.
Yep.
And it sounds like it's going to be a minimum of 12, if not the full season with Deshaun out. Jacoby Brissett, not going to get it done for me with Amari Cooper. I'm looking, and then these other guys below, Amari Cooper, Marquise Hollywood Brown, Brandon Cooks, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I like him, but not above Allen Robinson. Michael Thomas, we don't know what we're getting into. And
he's
Darnell
been
Mooney,
getting hyped up in camp that Michael Thomas is back. And
I think I'm buying into the Michael Thomas hype train, unfortunately, but he might bite me again.
Another one.
He might bite me again.
Right.
So I guess right now at this point, my vote is either Allen Robinson and TJ Hawkinson as our next 2 picks, assuming there's obviously the risk of Hawk. We'd need him to fall to us, or we can go Dalton Schultz here and just lock in somebody that I think is going to be a really reliable, solid tight end 1. And so I'll leave it up to you guys to make that decision.
All right.
I'm not going quarterback at this point.
Yeah, no, quarterback's out. I like a lot of other
in agreement. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, because I like Jalen Hurts. Even Russell Wilson, somebody that we could probably get after he comes back around again. And
Russ is going to have a big year.
Yeah. So Joe
even
Burrow,
Lance
as much
Stafford,
as that
Brady, even further down. So
that division that Russ is in this year, there's going to be so many shootouts. I mean, that's the best division in football to watch this year. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Yeah. So I think he's just going to be putting the team on his back a lot of the time.
Yes.
Put the team on my back.
I'm trying to think here too, because looking at our draft board, I'm almost wondering if we wait on the tight end position, because the teams in front of us to pick have Darren Waller, Travis Kelce, and George Kittle. I'm wondering if they're probably not going to be taking their second tight end.
That's okay.
I wonder if we can get Dalton Schultz.
I would hope not. I didn't even look at that. Yeah.
Yep. So that's something too when you're doing the drafts at home. Make sure you're keeping an eye on the teams in front of you. Now this could completely come back to backfire, and somebody takes their second tight end. But that's not going to happen. I think that you just made the best point of them all.
Yep. Yeah.
So assuming cool with Dalton Schultz, then where would you lean then, Critter? If we can lock up Dalton Schultz here in our 6th round when it comes back around, what are you thinking then? I think where you'd like to go.
That'd be best case scenario for me. I mean, that's a great point that you pointed out. I didn't even see that the other teams had that level of tight end already. So I agree with Gel to a certain extent that I think Robinson's going to have a lot better year than like a casual fan, like most fans would think. Like obviously, way better situation. Much better quarterback. I mean, there is the risk of the elbow injury to Stafford, but I don't put much weight into that. There was videos of him just bombing deep balls the other day, and it's like he wouldn't be doing that. They wouldn't be letting him do that if his elbow was that much of a concern. I think McVay and the coaching staff are smart enough to where if it's bothering him, they're going to get the ball out of his hands quick. He's not going to take many hits. I'd be happy with Robinson, and then just hope that my boy falls to us. in the next
All
round.
right. Yeah, I'm good with Robinson. He's a little scary, but again, that wide receiver 2 position has been lucrative in LA, even with Jared Goff there. So you know you're going to get production. So
You got,
I'm good with
with
Allen
Goff there
Robinson.
and Robert Woods and Cup both were putting up good numbers.
Odell
Clear
was a
upgrade in
monster last year
quarterback.
when he came over.
Right.
Yep. So
And it's, Odell definitely has the option to come back too. That would scare me maybe for later in the season towards the playoffs. Like if Odell comes back, maybe vultures some touches away from Robinson, but they paid Robinson for a reason. I mean, they obviously really like him, gave him a decently big contract. So I feel pretty happy with that pick.
all right, I'm going to go ahead and lock him in, and we will all hold our breath in hopes that Dalton Schultz comes
There's
back
no
around.
damn way that he doesn't come back.
All right. So
I was
that
just
will
waiting
be,
for it. I was sitting there waiting for it.
That was too. That would have been good content if he did, but no. Joe Burrow, Brandon Cooks, Amari Cooper, Jalen Hurts. So don't have the option on him. Darnell Mooney and Miles Sanders. So I will go ahead and lock in Dalton Schultz. Did you want to make a last ditch push for TJ Hawkinson, Gel, or are you good with Dalton Schultz?
Hawk has just been, he's just reliable every year. He's a touchdown. He's been a touchdown machine,
Nice.
Even with Goff.
He's got some injury woes though.
But yeah, and so like I like the talent of Hawk more than Dalton Schultz, but the opportunities for Schultz this season are going to be, there's just going to be more opportunity for work with Schultz. Him and Dak obviously work together well. They got rid of Blake Jarwin. So there's really no concern there in terms of another tight end taking that role.
Yeah.
Schultz is solid. I'm good there. Can you take a look at quarterback really quick? I just want to see what's left.
Absolutely. So right now with the overall, for those of you, again, if you're not on YouTube, get on there. But ranking wise, right now we're in the high 50s, kind of a splattering of the 60s. And the next quarterback, as far as rankings, is Russell Wilson at 81. A few teams in front of us that do not have a quarterback at this time, team 2, 3, and I guess team 1, and 6. So there's probably a good chance that two of these guys are probably going to be gone. So I wouldn't imagine Russell or Dak will be coming back around, which I'm not huge on Dak. I do like Russell, but again, it's still pretty early right now for taking him. So
let's skip quarterback. And I've already made my concerns on Dak pretty widely known on this show in previous episodes with Amari Cooper gone. So let's jump on Schultz right now. I think I assume obviously Critter's on board with that. So
I'm perfectly fine. Critter, you'd made a great point earlier on in this draft that tight ends, if you don't get one of those top ones, they start falling off immensely. And right now, if we don't take Schultz or Hawkinson, we're looking at Goddard, Dawson Knox, just kind of a mishmash of guys that you're not going to get solid production week in and week out from them. So I like the Dalton Schultz call here and feel like we got good value for him too in the sixth round.
I love that in the 6th round. That's great.
For fantasy, I mean, opportunity, volume, and just the situation is key. I mean, you look at, like we said earlier, like who else does Dalton Schultz besides CeeDee Lamb have to compete with? I mean, is Pollard, Pollard and Zeke aren't catching many passes out of the backfield. Let's be honest, they've never done that. I mean, Pollard will catch a few.
There have been camp reports that Pollard's been working in the slot.
Okay. I would love that. I mean, I think that's a great football move. I don't know.
For sure would be. Yeah. So you could have both him and Zeke on the field at the same time, but I don't think he's going to be getting enough work to the point where it's going to take away from anything Dalton Schultz, especially in the red zone. Yeah. I mean, Pollard's just not a big enough target in the red zone.
No. And like you said, I mean, if it was in a vacuum and we were going off of just athleticism and a better prospect, I mean, Hawkinson, I think, blows him out of the water. It's not even close, but I just think quarterback's better in Dallas. Opportunities there. There's a lot of mouths to feed in the Lions offense this year, surprisingly.
And the fact that Josh did bring up, was it Amon-Ra that you said was getting great camp report or great reports out of camp?
Michael
might have been.
Thomas.
Oh, Mike. Okay, well,
Yeah,
we were talking
different
about
team.
Amon-Ra too.
I mean,
we were talking about Amon-Ra too. Okay,
But Amon-Ra's
in that same
been
group.
solid too. So
he looked good in that preseason game. I think it was it against the Falcons. I think they
Mhm.
played. He looked pretty good. He was getting good separation,
Falcons,
and I mean that's true.
No, lock it in. Lock it in.
Yeah.
lock it. We're going lock it.
No,
That's a bit of a stretch. Lock to lock it. I'm telling you.
Clear,
Winning combo.
All right, we locked
MVP
in
and offensive player of the year.
Dalton
Lock
Schultz.
and lock it.
After Schultz, Harris, Hawkinson off the board, St. Brown, Thielen, Bateman, Brown, Russell Wilson to team 2, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Michael Thomas, Ken Walker, Juju, AJ Dillon, Drake London, DeAndre Hopkins in the 7th round, Kareem Hunt, Gabe Davis, and we are.
That is your boy, Gabe Davis.
I'm high on Gabe Davis as well, but did you guys see? I've been kind of high on Ken Walker a little bit lately. He just had like some hernia problems, I believe. I just got a report.
Yeah,
I
got an update on that too.
So Rashad Penny's ADP might be shooting up a little bit.
Yep. All right, so we are at pretty solid lineup right now. Got 3 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and our tight end position. So again, Russell Wilson, somebody that we pretty high on, went off the board at the end of the 6th round, so he is no longer an option for looking quarterback. We got Dak Attack, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford. Running backs, we've got Cordy P, Tony Pollard, Devin Singletary, Rashad Penny, Chase Edmonds. Wide receiver, Treylon Burks, Devonta Smith, Hunter Renfrow, Elijah Moore, Brandon Ayuk, Chris Olave. Tight end, Dallas Goedert, Dawson Knox, which we're not looking that direction. So I
say we grab our tight end 2 here.
Are there kickers? Can we get kickers in this? I am kind of leaning between Elijah Moore, Brandon Ayuk. That's kind of where I'm sitting right now, kind of more along the Elijah. We saw him have a little breakout towards the end of the season last year. Brandon Ayuk's been getting some decent reports out of camp, but again, it's hard to trust him.
You definitely want to see it before you believe it.
Right.
Correct. And we've seen it from Elijah Moore. Granted, we haven't seen it with Garrett Wilson there in the offense. Zach Wilson's going to be a slow start to the season with him coming off of that surgery, but I really like the upside with Elijah Moore. There's a couple of other, Hunter Renfrow, if this was full on PPR, he'd be pretty solid there. But again, Devontae Adams is coming over from Green Bay into that Las Vegas offense. Devontae Smith now is competing with AJ Brown for targets. Jalen Hurts hasn't thrown the ball a ton. We'll see what happens this year with him having AJ Brown to throw to. And Treylon Burks is kind of a question mark, had some asthma problems in Tennessee and kind of a slow start for him too. So that's just kind of where I'm sitting. I haven't really talked first yet, so I wanted to
get a freaking word in finally,
there. Yeah. So figured I'd share my thoughts here, sitting here in the 7th round before we close out for this episode. But I'll kick it over to you guys. Critter Gel, what are you guys thinking with where we're sitting?
You kind of took the words out of my mouth. I really like Elijah here. I think that'd be a great pick. I'm not in love with Dak. Definitely not Cordell Patterson. Brady, I think, will have a good fantasy year, but I've just never, I don't know. Maybe I'm a hater. I'm not going Brady. I got
don't like the TB12 method. Avocado ice cream ain't your thing.
Oh, it's disgusting. I've tried it.
Have you had it?
Yeah, I've had it.
Shit.
It tastes really bad. I like avocados too, but it's like, it's the texture of ice cream, but just the taste is not there. Let's see who else we got. Tony.
Can you jump back over to receivers there, Josh?
Sure can.
Yeah. So I would go Elijah Moore right there. I think I love Treylon Burks as a prospect. He's a huge dude. I think I forget what he just recorded for a speed, but they're saying that I think he has like the highest speed record for like somebody of however much he weighs. He's a huge dude, but he's really fast for how big he is. But this year for fantasy and like a low volume passing offense, I'm not really eager to jump on that.
Yeah, if we were talking dynasty, Treylon Burks would be obviously long gone, but
that dude's going to be a beast.
And I think he's going to be a boss, but I can't go him right now. I want to open up the Hunter Renfroe
We're not
conversation.
locking it in with Lockett, Jill.
No,
I see him sneaking into there.
Oh, he's down there. He's down there.
we can move past Lockett. I want to get back into that Hunter Renfroe convo though, because I get it, for you YouTube viewers, you do see projected targets at 0. I don't think that's going to be the case for every single wide receiver. But I mean, if we're talking half point PPR, I think that those numbers are gonna be there for Renfroe to the point where 6 touchdowns is possible. I think he could eclipse that 1,000-yard season, and he could be getting to, yeah, Devontae Adams is there, Darren Waller is there, but I think Renfroe probably, I think at this point, Renfroe eclipses Waller in terms of targets, in terms of receptions, without a question. So I mean, we're talking if we're talking half point or full point PPR, I love Renfroe here. There's the obvious upside of Elijah Moore when it comes to big playability, but there are receptions that are going to be taken away with Garrett Wilson now being there and Corey Davis falling out of favor. Garrett Wilson is the way higher talent than Corey Davis. So for me, I'm kind of 50-50 on Renfroe, Elijah Moore. I like the upside of Elijah Moore, but I think Renfroe is a guaranteed pointage. So right now, the way our team is formatted out, we're looking at, we've got 3 backs, we've got 2 receivers, we've got 1 tight end.
Essentially a flex spot.
So this is our flex number 2. With our second flex spot, do we want to go guy with the upside, or do we want to go guaranteed week in, week out receptions, potential, maybe a half touchdown a week, probably 6 to 8 receptions a week, 5 to 8 receptions a week, 60 to 120 yards a week, pretty much guaranteed with Renfroe. Elijah Moore, you may be looking at 2 receptions, a half a touchdown, and 30 yards as a floor, but you could also see maybe 6-8 receptions, 140 yards, and 2 scores. So there's a huge variance, I think, in Elijah Moore's potential production. So do we want to take the risk here with the upside on Elijah, or do we want to go Renfroe here, where it's the safer pick for our flex number 2?
Because I mean, obviously Hunter is not the, whatever you want to call it, he's not the sexy pick. He's it strikes me as a very boring pick, but like the numbers don't lie. I mean, he's going to get receptions. He's a PPR monster. It's just, it does scare me. I mean, there's not many wide receivers in the league where if they come to your team, I'm that scared, but I think Devontae is that dude. I think he's just going to demand such a large target share. Not as much as he was in Green Bay, I don't think by any means, but I mean, you go from astronomical to, still really, really high percentage. So I don't know. I mean, how I play fantasy, I think I usually tend to go with the upside picks. I like to just swing for the fences. So my pick would still be Elijah Moore, but I completely agree with everything you said.
It just comes down to strategy. I mean, Josh, where do you land on this?
Where I agree with you on Hunter Renfroe. I think I still lean Elijah Moore, just like you had said, Critter. Devontae Adams coming over, he's going to demand a huge target share there. And we've seen obviously huge target shares in the past for Green Bay with Devontae Adams, and then Darren Waller's been huge as well. So where does Hunter Renfroe kind of fit in there, where Elijah Moore in New York, he balled out last year when Zach Wilson was hurt, with backup quarterbacks coming in and was doing awesome. He's got to compete with Garrett Wilson.
Mike White.
Yeah, right. I think Garrett Wilson's going to be awesome, but again, he's a rookie wide receiver, so we don't know what to expect there. He's not going to demand a huge target share right away. I mean, Corey Davis, forget him. I mean, nobody's excited about Corey Davis anymore. So that's why I think even though you could get a boom or bust week from Elijah Moore, I think you're going to get more boom weeks than busts. And with T. Higgins is going to be pretty solid and reliable for us. Allen Robinson, as long as Stafford's healthy, should be pretty reliable for us.
That's a good point. So we've got a lot of reliability at receiver right now.
Take a shot here.
That's a good. I'm okay. That's a good point.
We have enough cushion to swing for the fences.
All the good nuggets.
How I look at it, like if I'm comparing two players, especially wide receivers, like a lot of the times I'll line them up and I'll be like, who has the best shot to be the number one receiver on the team? And I think Elijah Moore definitely has a better shot of being the number one receiver. We don't.
And to be clear, like I'm cool. To be clear, I like Elijah Moore a lot. So I'm not trying to shit on Elijah Moore. I'm just saying risk versus the safe pick. So, but Critter, dead on. He's going to be that wide receiver one for the Jets. Let's lock it in. Let's lock it in.
It's the Jets. It's Zach Wilson. It's still scary, but I feel pretty good about it.
Wilson.
And then I think
in
we could still get a guy like Ayuk. If Ayuk falls to us, we can still get a guy like that.
I want to jump back to
or Renfro.
We were just one last little thing before we wrap up part one of this. In our draft, we saw Devontae Adams go as the wide receiver 2. So Kupp went 1, Devontae 2, Jefferson 3, Chase 4. Is that an order that you guys agree with? Because I've got a question mark here.
I would flip Justin Jefferson and Devontae Adams for sure.
And you still have Devontae over Chase? That's more. I think
more
Justin
debatable,
Jefferson
but Justin Jefferson is for sure.
I would consider Justin Jefferson possibly as the RB or wide receiver 1 here.
I'd say JJ's my number 1. I think he's like Kevin O'Connell. It's been known that they're going to be a more pass heavy offense. I think he's just going to be a monster this year.
We saw Kevin O'Connell was the OC for the Rams last year when Cooper Kupp went off. So,
and I think.
Why can't Justin Jefferson be wide receiver 1?
Kupp doesn't have anywhere to go but down. And I mean, I'm not saying he's going to skyrocket down, but I mean, you can't go he's not going to repeat that season. That's probably the best season I can remember in my lifetime of a wide receiver. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right, to round out the 7th round after we picked Tony Pollard, Cordy P, and Rashad Penny. So Hunter Renfro still on the board, Joe, but unfortunately we'll have to wait to see what direction we go with till tomorrow when we finish the rest of our draft. We can be found at Dead Arm Sports, Twitter, Instagram. Check us out on Facebook at Dead Arm Sports. Make sure you check out our YouTube page, subscribe, click the bell there. So that's the way you know when our episodes drop and are live. Got the chat monitored at all times. So that way you can go ahead and ask us any questions that you want. And otherwise, subscribe, rate, review the podcast on your favorite listening platform. Send us a screenshot and we'll get you some sticker swag sent out. Jel, where else can they find us?
Find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Google Podcasts. Make sure to subscribe, rate, review. 5 stars as well. Much appreciated. Spread the word to your friends, your family, your enemies, anybody that's sitting, out there on the street. If you're going to a Labor Day parade coming up, talk to everybody there. Maybe create your own Dead Arm Sports float. For the parade.
Or if you write enough reviews, we'll send you a whole pack of stickers. You can hand them out in the parade.
There you go.
There you go.
All right. Appreciate you jumping on, Critter. You passed all of our tests today, so we will have you back tomorrow. Appreciate it. Great fantasy insight. And it was fantastic. Jill, you have a closing message here? We're going to cold close today.
Welcome to the big show, Crit Dog.
I mean, I'm honored. Thank you for having me on. This was a lot of fun.